Just a heads up, in addition to the holiday items that I've mentioned previously, we also have a few leftover cozy penguin plushies from our previous sale. So if you happen to miss out on it the first time, now's the chance to get it, with no pre-order wait time either. However, once these are sold out, this product will be gone for good. So make sure to grab yours while you still have the chance. Previously on the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolved.
That's right. I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey.
Mickey. Oh my God. Professor Mickey might soon be actual daddy. I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you.
If only my daddy could be.
Oh, yes.
And now back to legging it, people.
Hello!
This is NicoB. Back with some more of the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. We last left off, oh my God.
Holy crap, man. Jesus Christ, this game, dude. This game. So we've got a lot of revelations, a lot of things happening. First off, Mikitoba appears not to be Iris's father. I still thought the way that he was trying to downplay it in the first, like just the way he was, the things he was saying right before, you know, getting cut off at the end was like, I feel like the first thing he should have been like, no, I didn't do that. Instead of being like, no, you don't understand, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, just whatever. We had to make it suspenseful, I get it, but whatever. But it appears that he is not Iris's father. Who is this baby's father? It's apparently not Watson, which makes me wonder, is it just Holmes? Is it just that Holmes was her father the entire time and never told her or something? Is that how this is gonna be? Maybe at this point we should be asking, who the hell is her mother? You know, the one that actually birthed her. I don't know. I'm actually almost wondering if we're actually gonna know by the end of this game or not, you know? It feels like that could be something they might leave open just for like the potential that this game came back in some way. I don't know, I could see him doing it. Just like, oh, well, we'll leave it to your imagination to find out. And you're like, fuck you. There's not gonna be a Great Ace Attorney 3, you know it, you bastards. But even more significantly, Jigoku seems to play a pretty big part in this. And the more I've sort of sat and thought about like what his actual role in this is, I think it's very likely that he's the one who's been communicating with Great Britain, right? About moments like this where they have like an exchange of assassins, right? Potentially he oversees an assassination of somebody on their shores, you know, acting as an additional arm of the Reaper. Seeing as he's also was someone who was mentored by Lord Stronghart, it wouldn't be surprising if he had a similar mindset that he does, right? Now the question will enter, is he actually the one that then killed Gregson? That's like, man, I don't know. That does seem kind of rough. And I think I have a thought here. I think it might be the case. I think his body was put into Jigoku's suitcase. So I think when Jigoku and Mikitoba arrived on the ship, I think Gregson's dead body was already in his bag. And I think that's where this picture that we took before is gonna come into play. I think I've been trying to rack my brain, like, how is this, like, what is in this picture that is significant? I think it's the suitcase. I think they're gonna be like, oh, well, you know, the body, I didn't have my suitcase with me, booga booga. Well, if you look at this photo, you see it's right there. Oh shit, that's pretty fucked up, by the way. I just want to throw that out there. They have a dead body just chilling in his suitcase. Because we found the part of Gregson's watch in there, right? And it would kind of really seem like he must have been the one that did it. Unless the Sogi did it and they helped each other do it, but I don't think so. I really don't think this is gonna end with the Sogi actually having killed anybody, but we did see that apparently he was tasked at the start of this adventure with killing Gregson, right? That seemingly he was part of this assassination or this assassin exchange. It seems like he must have been aware of it, right? Like they had to have told him, this is why you're going to Britain. I mean, clearly. Who was the one that told him to do that then? Would it have been Jigoku? I'm almost wondering if maybe this was part of what Asogi was trying to bring an end to, right? Like he was tasked with this, but he never intended to do it, right? That's why he's saying, I want to go and reform this justice system because it's so fucked up. Like the fact that you're asking me to do this is messed up. I don't know. I will be curious to see. Like I feel like this could go either way, where like Asogi is sort of vindicated, where like this was never the plan, or he did plan to do it, but things have changed and now he's a different person, or he's still the same guy and he's always been the one that's planned to do this shit at some point, and he fucking murdered the shit out of Gregson. That is the one I super doubt, but it's not impossible because I've already been sort of shown that Asogi is definitely not a squeaky clean guy. But you guys brought up a lot of cool themes in the last comment of the day, and sort of to add to that, a fisherman said last episode, if I may add to the comment of the day, I've noticed that this series, the second game especially, emphasizes the dangers of revenge and or vigilantism. Case 1, Raiden Menimimo murdered Giselle Bread out of anger for how she treated him in Japan's justice system. Case 2, Olive Green sought to avenge fiancé Duncan Ross by killing William Shakespeare. Case 3, Enoch Drebber killed Odie Asman, the man who ruined his future, in a plan that would also humiliate the police who wronged him. So far, all the killers in this game took justice into their own hands, and each of them suffered for it. Then we learned that Van Zieks took the helm as prosecutor for the Professor trial with the express goal of avenging his brother Clint, and has come back to bite him. He's the prime suspect of killing several people as the Reaper. Fittingly, both the Professor and the Reaper are known to kill corrupt people who escape the law. And as the comment of the day pointed out, Asogi accepted an assassination mission with the goal of bringing justice for his father, and is doing everything he can to convict Van Zieks, firmly believing him to be responsible for his death. Revenge is blinding. It can make people see the very crimes they hate as just, and bring them down a path they might never leave. It's so good, man. This is why I absolutely adore these games, but especially this game where everything's really starting to come to a head. It really kind of makes you feel like this is quintessential Ace Attorney, like Ace Attorney at its absolute best. It's so supremely well written, and in my opinion, kind of blows all of the Phoenix shit and even Apollo stuff kind of out of the water, all right? And I hope I'm not, maybe that's a bit of a hot take, but I seriously feel like this shit is so, like, the levels in depth. You have to realize how hard this story must have been to write. The fact that we're already, like, you guys are giving me multiple levels of and layers of theming here, right? About characters and how it ties into the greater narrative here. The subtle hints of, for example, Holmes, the fact that he was messing with Naruhodo this whole time, and now we get a relatively clear picture at the end that he was doing that, though they don't straight up say it either. And there's so much of that. There's so much of like showing, don't tell. And that's such a powerful writing implement, right? It's so hard as a writer to not be like, to point out to something that you did that's super clever, right? Like, because you want people to notice it. You want to do that. You want as many people to see how cool and clever that was. But if you say it, it loses the magic of it. People have to sort of figure that out themselves. You have to kind of hope that people notice what you put in there. And even these layers and levels, it's like people might play this game and like, yeah, it was a really good game. Why was it good? I don't know. I thought it was cool. It was a cool mystery till the very end. But then like people who really break this shit down go, fuck, dude, these themes and characterization and character motivations and fucking horse shit, and you know, it's like your brain explodes. And that's how I felt when I was like really like breaking down like 13 Sentinels, right? This insane labor of love that was just like, God damn, man, this shit's fucking awesome. I always love seeing just a absurd level of love and detail put into a story like this, and it shines in this game. It's so well written. Even Ace Attorney Investigations 2, man, like as much as I was like, damn, this game is incredible, and it still is incredible, like it somehow has actually reached another level that is, I don't know, man. I don't know if we're ever gonna get a game as good as this. It's really gonna be tough. Even if they brought back the Great Ace Attorney, you know, in some fashion, and I really do hope they do. I don't know, man. It's hard to imagine they could actually surpass what they've set here, you know? Like really, a story like this is not easy to write. I legit wouldn't be surprised if the makings of this story, of actually like putting this all together, even before the actual like game process was getting made, the actual story process was done a long time ago, or even the ideas for it were set up, you know? Like this is this extra thing that I want to do to create, you know, make this game that is about Holmes and this Japanese boy that's an ancestor to Phoenix Wright. Like that, this whole process was something that was planned ahead of time, because this is what it screams to me. And to have an entire crazy complex plot that stretches over 2 games like this just makes it that much more impressive. So, Fisherman, thank you so much for your really, even another great comment talking about the themes of this game that just makes me appreciate it all that much more. And it is for that reason you are our comment of the day. Oh my God, guys. Holy shit, I don't know, man. It's hard to know where this is just gonna go. It's like, I do think it's gonna be that Yoshiogoku's gonna end up being a bit of a bad guy. And that's gonna be very interesting. I think we got a glimpse of it there at the end. That face he made of Mikotoba, He made a bit of an ugly face to him where he's like, like, you're like, oh, fuck. I don't know, man. This could get terrifying.
I feel like we're probably gonna have at least maybe one more to be continued before potentially the end. I just wouldn't be surprised. I guess maybe we could have more. I don't think this is probably the last part entirely, but let's get started, guys. Oh boy. Oh boy. Shit's gonna hit the fucking fan today. My ass is clenched. November 4th, 9:30 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Oh, we're just hopping right in. Okay, no pep talk. No, not today. Before we begin today, I have a brief announcement. As with the closed trial 10 years ago, some astonishing facts have come to light in these proceedings. The revelation that the well-known Reaper is actually an organization illegally executing its own brand of justice. And the discovery that a respected yard inspector was at his heart until he himself perished in an assassination plot. Well, I say to all members of the judiciary here present on this occasion, that we will stop at nothing to uncover the whole truth behind these disturbing findings.
Like he's acting like he's not at the head of this shit, right?
Counsels, you will undertake this trial with the resolve to pursue the truth to the bitter end. Resolve. Yes, just like the name of this fucking game. That's my intention. My lord, if I may inquire.
The defendant may speak.
On what grounds is Kazuma Sogi permitted to continue in his role as prosecutor? He is admitted to colluding with the victim in a plot to assassinate an innocent man. He shouldn't be enjoying the privilege of freedom, let alone be leading the prosecution.
I submitted a written petition to Lord Stronghart, requesting that judgment of my transgressions be delayed by 1 day.
Ah, you did what?
In today's proceedings, I intend to expose everything. My whole life for the last 10 years has all been leading up to this 1 day.
Kazuma.
Whatever the outcome of this trial, I give my word that I will accept whatever punishment is deemed appropriate, however severe.
I really like that they're doing this. I really, really like that they're doing this. They could have just moved on, right? This is why God damn, dude, this game's so fucking good. Fuck this game, dude. Again, you gotta realize something, okay? Like, they could have just, and I feel like some older games would have just glossed over this shit. Like, let's just move on with the plot. But no, we're gonna have a character call out a plot point in this game, right? Like, how the fuck is Kazuma Sogi up there after what he just admitted he was doing, right? That he was up there could potentially be involved in this assassination. How in the hell is he still up there? That's a bit of a stretch, guys, even for our crazy narrative here. And they could just let that shit slide, whatever, you know? They've done it before. They've just, whatever, just roll with it. You know, there's some suspension of disbelief in these games. But the fact that they actually stopped and had Van Ziek say that to him, one, makes Van Ziek's look, you know, fucking intelligent, because that is something that a person of his stature would ask. And second, it shows that the writers aren't afraid to do that. They're not afraid to have their own characters question their seemingly the logic of their own plot structure, right? But they have a satisfactory answer here. Like, I will answer for this, all right? I will do that. But I'm committed to this, and I absolutely believe that Stronghart is completely using Asogi for that reason, right? He's like, he's gonna do exactly what I want him to do. And that's why he's probably allowing it to happen too. It's so fucking good. I love this.
And I suggest you prepare yourself for the same, Reaper.
Kazuma's bristling with hostility today. He's on fire. I get the distinct impression we're heading into a very dangerous territory.
Is that really even Kazuma-sama standing before us?
As an extreme exception to normal practices, I have granted this prosecutor's request. The defense finds this acceptable, I presume. Hell yeah, I do. I am a Cinnabitch no longer. I am a Cinnaman! Yes, my lord. In that case, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again.
we resume the closed hearing of Barack Van Zeeks.
The defense is ready, my lord.
Oh, fuck, music's kicking in. The prosecution is more than ready.
Very well, then. This preamble has taken long enough. Prosecutor Sogi,
begin. As you wish, my lord. The prosecution calls the first witness to the stand. Bring Seshiro Shigoku into the courtroom.
At last, then, we've reached the final battle. He's putting literally everything on the line now in order to get to the truth.
Let's go, boy!
that was actually the sound of Susato slapping Naruhodo on the ass.
Oh, hey, Miss Susato.
Sorry, I'm just really amped up, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yeah, me too. Let's do this.
He gets ready to smack her on the butt. He's like, nope, wait, no, don't, no.
Come on, Ryunosuke. It's time for that steely resolve, because this is going to test it to the limit.
Oh, boy. Suddenly, Shigoku looking like a real bad guy here, especially with all his black gloves and shit. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court. So it was you who issued this, was it? Your subpoena? I did what was necessary. Well, look what the young man has become. I didn't think I'd see the day when you take that tone with me, I must say.
The witness will ensure his responses are pertinent to the questions asked.
My name is Seshiro Shigoku, a Supreme Court judge from the Empire of Japan. 16 years ago, this man came to London as a visiting student. 6 years later, he returned to Japan. As well as presiding over the Supreme Court, he is also currently Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. I am, of course, fully aware of Mr. Shigoku and his preeminent roles. I invited him personally to the International Forensic Science Symposium as a representative of his country. I hear he also played a key role in the conclusion of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. Ah! It was a great honor to be involved in negotiations. I put my all into that treaty.
Judge Shigoku, I must ask.
Well, I never. Fancy the young murdering student turning up here of all places.
You acquitted me yourself, dickhead. And now, I'm a practicing defense lawyer, and I'm gonna fuck you up, sir. You're in my domain now.
Yes, and full of self-importance like your friend across the courtroom, I see.
You came here to London by invitation to the International Forensic Science Symposium. But then, without informing anyone of your plans, you took flight to France.
Took flight? I have to object to that turn of phrase.
Then explain yourself. What exactly were the circumstances?
Well, I was somewhat expecting this, and I'm sorry to say, I decline to comment.
What?
Leaving the country prematurely when I was an invited guest may be questionable etiquette, but my decision is unrelated to this case. I can't be bound to testify. Unrelated, you say? Wow. I appreciate that a respected police inspector has been killed, for which I offer my condolences. However, being an alien, I'd obviously never met the man, nor do I know the first thing about him. As such, I'm in no position to testify. It's as simple as that.
So you would run from all this?
I beg your pardon?
This case is more far-reaching than the murder of Inspector Gregson. It has ties to another murder, a case that was tried in Japan almost a year ago now.
A year ago in Japan? The murder of Dr. John H. Watson, you mean?
That's right. And you, Judge Shigoku, are at the heart of both cases. The defense has evidence to prove it.
Well, Ryunosuke, I see from the look in your eyes that you're resolved to carry this through to the very end, too.
Damn straight.
Let's see your evidence, then. What proof do you have that Seshiro Shigoku is involved in this case? Wait, is it this one? Yes.
This is a telegram detailing a communication sent between Britain and Japan approximately 1 year ago. The communication contained 4 names: K. Isogi, A. Shin, T. Gregson, and J. Watson.
Hold it. Oh, shit. You little... Oh, fuck. Where did you get that?
In Tokyo. From your office, Judge Jigoku.
What? How on earth did you... What's this all about? Why is my name on that list?
Is he not aware of it then? I kind of figured he would have been told by Judge Jigoku. This list of 4 names follows a certain pattern. T. Gregson and J. Watson are the names of victims. Keisogi and Ashin are the names of assassins.
No! Bang!
A year ago, I grabbed a gun and shot the fuck out of Watson. A year ago in Tokyo, Dr. John H. Watson's life was taken in a Western-style restaurant in the capital. The culprit was found to be a visiting student who went by the name of Giselle Brett. But her real name was Asa Shin, a professional killer sent on a mission to kill from Great Britain.
Shin and her victim, Jay Watson.
And the murder that just took place here in London was the counterpart to that crime. An assassin sent from Japan, also a visiting student, Kazuma Sogi, whose victim was the British police inspector, Tobias Gregson.
Keisogi and T. Gregson. One assassin from each country to kill a target residing in the other.
What exactly is the defense suggesting? These 2 cases of murder, one that took place in Britain and one in Japan, were masterminded by a pair of individuals from each country as a form of assassin exchange. In the telegram the defense has acquired is proof of this international contract to kill.
What? What?
Everybody shut the fuck up. The telegram was found in your office, Judge Jigoku. In other words, the mastermind Japan was you.
Judge Jigoku, what's this all about?
And you, Kazuma, you lied. During yesterday's proceedings, you acknowledged that you'd accepted the assassination mission. But the mark wasn't Judge Jigoku at all. It was T. Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard, as shown by the name on the killing contract.
Very impressive, Ryunosuke. But actually, I didn't lie. The name of the target I was ordered to kill never passed my lips yesterday. The idea that Seshiro Jigoku was the mark came entirely from you. Wow.
You deliberately avoided saying a name?
Wow, Jesus Christ. The defense claims these 4 names indicate some sort of international assassin exchange. I'm sure I speak for all present when I say that the very idea seems utterly absurd. Well, Mr. Jigoku, what do you have to say for yourself?
His silence only goes to prove his guilt.
There's another very important point that this new development brings to light. There's now a distinct possibility that the scene of Inspector Gregson's actual murder was in the witness's cabin aboard the SS Grouse.
Judge Jigoku, you have to testify now. To refuse to put you in contempt of court.
Damn, he looks so pissed. There's no need for quite such a vicious stare, young man. Very well then, as a parting gift to you all, I'll tell you everything I know. It seems this Japanese gentleman has information that the court must hear about the alleged assassin exchange, the events of the night of the 31st of October. Present your formal testimony now. As you wish, my lord. Wow, what a role reversal this shit is, isn't it? I'm comparing the first case now to this. Damn, so cool. It's just so cool. The assassin exchange. It's true that Kazuma Sogi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago now. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was a condition of the British study tour. However, in the end, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. On the evening in question, a member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. If there'd been a shot fired, the crewman would have heard it, so clearly I can't be involved. But this is gonna tie to this, right? Following departure report Dunkirk, all members required to assemble on the main deck at 10 p.m. to review. Yeah, it's gonna tie to this.
So you admit it then, as this communication suggests. There really was an assassin exchange arrangement between Britain and Japan.
A political endeavor at the highest levels. Not something I can discuss here.
To use such a worthy practice as foreign study to coerce somebody to commit murder. It's the most appalling thing I've ever heard.
Appalling. Well, it's easy to judge.
Pardon?
Asogi had a reason for taking his sword to that British inspector, you know.
What?
Which is why he accepted the mission in the first place. Isn't that right, Council? Damn.
Kazuma-sama?
Judge Shigoku, if you are the mastermind behind this operation in Japan, then tell the court the identity of your counterpart in Britain.
I'm not obliged to divulge that information. As I said yesterday, I've killed nobody. I freely admit that I accepted the mission, but on the night the plan was to be executed, I backed out. In short, this assassin exchange the defense has identified is unrelated to the events of this case. The crucial point is this. Your police inspector can't have perished aboard that steamship in Dunkirk. Because if he'd been shot in the cabin, it's inconceivable that a member of the crew wouldn't have heard it. That's right. Gregson was killed after returning to London, in the room on Fresno Street. And the perpetrator of the crime was the Reaper, Barack Van Zeeks. The prosecution's accusation remains unchanged. To think that a seemingly innocent foreign exchange program was a facade for such Machiavellian dealings. Clearly it's a plot only a government minister and high-ranking judge such as the witness could hope to execute. Well, I seem to recall that it was someone on the British side who controlled everything. Be that as it may, it is not the place of this court to pursue this villainous assassin exchange plot.
Oh, you see him looking over at fucking Stronghart like, he's like, bitch, you better watch it. I'm gonna call you out.
We are concerned only with the tangible events pertaining to the murders of Inspector Gregson. Is the defense clear on that point, counsel?
Yes, my lord. I'll keep that in mind as I cross-examine the witness. Okay, can I actually shoot him down yet, or do I have to break this apart in some way? Hold on, let me read what he said there again. And the incident happened on the evening in question. A member of the crew was on duty outside my cabin at all times. Been a shot fired. The crewman would have heard it. Would have heard it. I think I need to get a bit more because I don't know if I have enough to actually. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be what it is. All crew members are required to assemble on the main deck in order to. Yeah, I need more details. So on the evening in question, a member of the crew was on the duty outside my cabin at all times. Outside your cabin in the first class area of the SS Grouse, you mean?
Yes, that's right. Not least because there was a murder of a student passenger earlier in the year, I imagine. The liner operators have taken to posting a crewman outside every first class cabin door. I can confirm the presence of the crewman guard myself.
What do you mean?
Because I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk that night. I witnessed it with my own eyes. There was a well-built crewman standing guard directly in front of the door to the witness's cabin. At that particular time, of course, I'd gone to the ship's dining room for dinner. The inspector and I asked the crewman to allow us into the cabin while we waited for Judge Shigoku's return.
I suppose Inspector Gregson was there in his capacity as the Reaper. He was intending to take the witness's life.
Exactly. As I've said numerous times now, I had no intention of killing anyone.
So the crewman let two potential assassins into the cabin he was supposed to be guarding. Not the most convincing of centuries, really.
In truth, those were my thoughts too. But anyway, I stayed to talk with Inspector Gregson for a short while. And then I left him there and made my way off the ship alone.
Was the guard still at the door when you went?
Yes. He glared at me as I walked past. You see, that proves it. I guess I press him here too. If there'd been a shot fired, the crewman would have been hurted, so clearly I can't be involved.
The crewman who was standing directly outside your cabin door, you mean?
That's right. A muscular man with a permanent grim expression on his face. He didn't once move from that spot. To be honest, I thought he was a miserable fellow. But as it happens, he's a vital witness now. There's no doubt that Gregson was killed by a gunshot. And it's inconceivable that a crewman standing just outside the cabin door wouldn't have heard that.
But wait, what about the ship's enormous steam engines? The noise of them could have drowned out the sound of the gun being fired.
Sadly, young judicial assistant, that won't wash.
Oh.
You will recall that my cabin was in the first-class area of the ship, which is also, of course, the quietest. Don't imagine for a moment that it's anything like steerage where the judicial assistants go.
I didn't mean...
Damn,
that's kind of mean. But a hole like that made by a bullet was found in your cabin, Judge Goku. That's compelling evidence that a gun was fired in there.
What's that? A bullet hole? Oh yes, you're talking about what the detective uncovered in the wall yesterday, I presume. That was obviously a rotten panel eaten away by a woodworm. No doubt he didn't find an actual bullet.
Damn, look at his fucking face, dude. Jesus. That's the hole in this argument.
Sadly, I was unable to arrange for the crewman to be brought back to Britain with me. But obviously, if a gun had been fired in my cabin on the night in question as the defense implies, I would have been arrested on the spot and would never have made it to Britain in the first place. Very true. The witness's logic is sound. Since no gunshot was heard from the witness's cabin on the night in question, we must assume that the witness is telling the truth. I'm glad you've seen sense, my lord.
Jeez, wow. I know Cosmo's already admitted to taking on this credible assassination plot, but even so, here confirmed by somebody else, still a real shock.
It's unforgivable. Using Cosmo-sama's feelings to manipulate him into agreeing to such a despicable plan.
But I think Cosmo manipulated Judge Goku too. He completely double-crossed him.
Oh dear. It's hard not to see that as a stroke of brilliance on Cosmo-sama's part.
One way or another, though, Gregson ended up dead. I really think that the murder must have happened aboard that steamship.
So you mean?
Judge Goku must be lying.
I know I shouldn't let my emotions cloud my judgment, but you must destroy him, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, fuck.
Maybe I have everything I need?
Maybe this is it, man. All I gotta say is here. You know what, though? To be perfectly honest, I think I probably can present it here, but I actually kind of want to press him on the other stuff, too. I actually want to hear what he says to some of this stuff, because this is, like, literally so interesting. I want to hear what he has to say. It's true that Cosmo Sugi was assigned the assassination mission 1 year ago.
A year ago? When Cosmo's still in Japan, then?
Correct. It was at the examination center for applicants for the study tour that I approached him. I'll never forget it. I remember exactly what you said. You just came out and asked me forthright if I consider traveling to Britain on an assassination mission. Wow. Okay, yes, this is good. I should definitely be pressing this.
Surely not.
I thought it was a joke at first, of course. But then, it was made clear to me that if I didn't accept, I wouldn't be considered for the study tour.
So you agreed to it? Just for that? I mean, I know how much you want to study in England, but assassination?
The Empire of Japan had accepted a proposal from the British Empire at the time. An agreement to send a student from each country to the others to deepen cultural understanding and friendship. But behind the scenes, the chosen students were to be given assassination missions. I had no choice but to accept the proposal that originated from my British counterpart.
Why? Why didn't you expose the plot there and then?
Britain acknowledges no part in these alleged misbegotten dealings. I advise you not to make spurious allegations, Forward Minister Jigoku. As a witness, I'm bound to tell the truth, my lord. Anyway, I picked Sogi and explained the details of the plan to him. Wow. No, this is too important. I gotta press him. The target was Inspector T. Gregson. That was the condition of the British study tour.
Why Kazuma? Why did you pick him as the assassin?
He was the most capable of all the applicants, and the only one with a sword. And in addition, I knew his desire to travel to Britain was very strong. In fact, it was almost more than a desire. It was his whole purpose in life.
Yes, as his best friend, I can certainly attest to that. The way he threw himself into his studies, the way he pursued becoming qualified as a lawyer. It was all ultimately for that one single goal of being accepted on a study tour to Britain.
And of course, we know the reason behind that. He was determined to find out for himself the truth about his father, Genshin Asogi.
There's nothing I wouldn't have done to get here. But be that agreeing to assume the role of an assassin, or betraying people's trust. Well, you certainly did a fine job of betraying mine, Asogi. Damn.
But why was Inspector Gregson the target?
I have no idea. Those were the orders from Britain, and I was in no position to question them. You have no idea? Really? I find that hard to believe. Oh, do you?
Joshigoku was once a visiting student here in Britain himself, of course. Perhaps he has some connection with Inspector Gregson from that time.
The defense really ought to catch up.
With what?
With the fact that the assassin exchange has absolutely nothing to do with the case under scrutiny here. Yes, I've already admitted to recruiting Asogi.
However, in the end, something happened that meant the young man was unable to carry out his mission. I presume you're referring to the incident that occurred during Kazuma's passage to Britain in January. The awful tragedy that took place on the steamship.
Word arrived at the ministry some 2 weeks after the ship's departure from our shores. The visiting student had been killed, but his body had somehow gone missing in Hong Kong. The news was wired to me from a detective I placed on the ship to accompany the assassin.
Obviously, Kazuma didn't actually die at all, but he did lose his memory, including all details about his special mission.
Did you not consider dispatching another assassin at that point? That wasn't possible, simply because that black-clad young student over there had already put himself forward as Asogi's replacement. And there was no way to stop him from reaching Britain. My hands were completely tied.
So Mr. Holmes' strategy worked perfectly.
It actually did. He predicted everything that would happen. Holy dicks, dude.
Months later, my memory returned, but I'd never intended to go through with the assassination mission anyway. So you were playing me right from the outset, were you? Is that it? I'd sooner be guilty of that crime than of taking someone else's life. I was prepared to do whatever I had to in order to get myself here to Britain.
This line of questioning has gone on long enough. All the court should be concerned about in the testimony given by this witness are details relating to his relationship with the Inspector Gregson and the victim's murder.
In that case, as I've already made perfectly clear, I had no connection to the man or his death. And you have some means of substantiating this plea. Okay. That was definitely worth listening to. I'm glad I did that.
Objection!
Yep.
Yes, as the court has heard, there was a crewman posted outside Joshigoku's cabin. However, we can be sure that, contrary to the witness's claim, the guard wasn't there at all times.
What?
I have here a notice of a particular event that was scheduled to take place aboard the steamship on the 31st.
What? Where did you get that?
It's evidence gathered by Mr. Sherlock Holmes. You were acquainted yesterday, if you remember.
Sherlock Holmes again.
According to this itinerary, after leaving the port of Dunkirk at exactly 10 p.m. and for a period of 20 minutes, all crewmen of the SS Grouse were to gather on deck for an evacuation drill.
All crewmen were away from their post.
And during that 20-minute interval, of course, any gunshots emanating from your cabin would have been heard by no one. In summary, Judge Jigoku, you had ample opportunity to commit the crime.
Ah! I bet he's gonna break the fuck out of that stand before this is over. A 20-minute window of opportunity. That's an excellent find, Ryunosuke. But it amounts to nothing.
Why?
Because the witness clearly stated in his testimony that no incident occurred in his cabin, unless you have some decisive evidence that can show his testimony to be false. Your accusation is nothing more than conjecture. Very true. Well, counsel.
Inspector Gregson was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin that night. I'm certain of it. Because the defense has the evidence to prove it.
You will present the evidence for the defense at once, counsel. What proof do you have that the victim's life was taken in Judge Jigoku's cabin on the October 31st? Wait, where am I? I present the watch? Nah, probably yeah.
Take that!
Judge Jigoku, this was found in your cabin yesterday.
What is that? The crown of a pocket watch? A pocket watch?
And if you will observe, the victim's pocket watch, which we know he treasured, is missing precisely that part.
It can't be.
Moreover, this crown is a perfect fit on the spindle protruding from the victim's watch. Now, the fact that this was retrieved from Judge Jigoku's cabin tells us that the victim's watch almost certainly broke there. In other words, the victim was killed on the 31st during the 20-minute evacuation drill. In the cabin occupied by you, Judge Jigoku.
Well, you're razor sharp, aren't you, you young murderer? Oh, fuck me, man.
Objection!
Objection! Expertly maneuvered, Ryunosuke. And your argument sounds entirely plausible. At first. But rather like this pocket watch, it's full of cracks.
What?
And I believe Judge Jigoku feels the same way. I was wrong to acquit you earlier in the year.
Sorry?
If I'd known that it would result in anyone having to listen to this drivel, I would have declared you guilty just to spare the world your ridiculous bombast. Oh, damn, man. I think it's clear that the witness will have to give further testimony. When you hear what actually happened in my cabin that night, you'll notice that pitfall into which you've stumbled. Prior to your renewed testimony, I would like to clarify one point. The fact that this part of the victim's watch was discovered in your cabin means that you acknowledge he was there, I presume. Yes, I do. Very well then. You may proceed to give your formal testimony about what exactly happened in your cabin aboard the ship on the evening of the October 31st. Of course. As a man of the law, I've no intention of obstructing justice. Wow, this is just getting crazy, dude. Oh, God. The events in the cabin. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. I soon took care of him with an Ippon Sao throw, though. He couldn't wait to run away after that. I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with this murder. The inspector was clearly killed, having returned to Britain, because his body was found in London. Ippon Sao. Is that how you say it? Probably not. A common jujutsu martial arts technique in my country. I was careful not to use too much force, but the man obviously landed too heavily for his watch to take. The fucking Judge Jigoku toss. So, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I imagine you can see the flaw in your logic now, can't you?
What?
The fact that the pocket watch was broken in the witness's cabin in no way proves that the victim's murder took place there.
Ah, fuck me!
I've no doubt the inspector intended to kill me, but he didn't manage to pull the trigger. Yes, because he was merely the tactician, not the Reaper's hand of death. Well, the testimony appears to make perfect sense as far as I can tell. Let me express my deep gratitude for your understanding, my lord.
But if this testimony holds, Judge Shikoku will be deemed to have no involvement in the case.
Well, counsel, I really see no reason for wasting precious court time here on a cross-examination.
He wants it to end too, dude. He's like, you're getting too close. Sorry, my lord. The defense has a right to cross-examine, and I don't intend to squander that.
You're an embarrassment to your countrymen, not knowing when you're beaten.
Jesus Christ, dude.
In that case, proceed, Mr. Naruhodo.
It is interesting. He's not like totally shooting me down. I guess he realizes he can't necessarily stop him, Naruhodo, without seeming insanely suspicious. The events in the cabin. Wow.
Damn, dude, Jigoku is we have seen a flip in his fucking switch here. He is, whoa.
All right. I guess we'll go ahead and just press him on this stuff. I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room. Because the so-called guard posted at your cabin door had just let your killer pass, you mean?
Apparently, Gregson told the crewman he was a police inspector, which was the truth, of course.
He wouldn't have had his identification with him, though.
He had his trench coat and mustache, not to mention the bag of chips. I imagine the crewman was convinced.
But the man accompanying him would have had 2 swords slung around his waist.
You mean me?
Who else, dummy?
Yes, that's true. You would have hoped the sight of a few swords might have set off alarm bells in the guard's head. The point is, I left the cabin before its occupant returned, and I immediately disembarked the ship. Certainly, all I can tell you is that only this inspector was waiting for me when I arrived back at my cabin. And you entered without any inkling of suspicion? That's right. None whatsoever.
When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me. Mata! Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson.
Yes, though at the time I didn't know the man's name. There was no time for introductions. I valued my life over manners.
By which you mean that the inspector was there to assassinate you, I suppose.
That was certainly the impression given by the gun pointing in my direction. But I've never seen the muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in all my life.
God, wow, he is... Damn, he got some fucking sass on this man. Damn, Shigoku, wow. Fuck, he's just throwing shade everywhere.
Anyone would think the man had never shot somebody before.
Believe it or not, most of us haven't.
Anyway, there was no time to call for the help of the crewman at the door, so I dealt with the man myself.
I soon took care of him with an Ippon Xiao throw, though. He couldn't wait to run away after that. Even though the man had a gun, that was a very brave move, wasn't it?
My Ippon Xiao was far faster than a bullet, I can assure you.
But surely all that commotion caused the crewman to come in, didn't it?
Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. The inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow and just managed to slip past him to make his escape.
The outstanding guard does it again.
Luckily, there aren't many situations I can't get out of using a quick Ippon Xiao throw.
I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder. It has nothing to do with his murder. The crown snapped off and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked.
Preferable to the man's head being pulled off or his spine cracking, wouldn't you say? Not that the man was spared for long. A bullet to the chest soon saw to that. But the point is, the broken pocket watch doesn't prove that a murder took place. Absolutely not. All the watch proves is the power of my jujutsu throw.
Whatever you say, it doesn't quite ring true that no shot was fired in that cabin. Because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall.
What are you talking about? That's what the star of your lowbrow detective stories told you, is it? Well, I don't care for such fiction. Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling? No murder took place in my cabin.
The inspector was clearly killed having returned to Britain because his body was found in London. but there's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive.
Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, Strapling.
What?
If the inspector was killed on the steamship in France, how on earth could he have got back to Britain? When people die, their bodies remain at the same spot. It's a devil of a thing.
Well, then, obviously the culprit must have moved the body.
How exactly? Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms would raise a few brows at least, don't you think?
Well, yes, that's true, but
Yeah, it was through the suitcase. Damn, that's pretty fucked, dude. Holy shit. One thing is too, like, I mean, he really had to keep that thing on ice because it actually would have stunk too, right? And that's I mean, it won't take long for the body to start to deteriorate after death. All passenger luggage is inspected when it is unloaded from arriving vessels. And I would like to think the border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage. If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. There would be no sense in risking being caught by the attempting to transport the body back to Britain.
Let's kill that idea then.
But perhaps not.
Is it, Al?
We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them, which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea.
Yes, that's true. So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative.
Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you? I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I think I ought to alter my testimony, with your consent, of course, my lord. I have no objection. State your amended testimony now.
There's no possible way I could have transported the victim's corpse back to Britain.
Gregson's trunk. It's not the trunk, though.
Do I actually have anything in here that is Judge Jigoku's suitcase?
Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's the picture. This is when this is going to come into play, right?
Objection!
Yep, I called it. That's what it was. I called it at the start of this episode.
There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Gregson's body, you say? I would say the opposite is true.
And what's that supposed to mean?
Far from being impossible for you to do. The transporting of Inspector Gregson's body back to Britain is something only you could do.
What are you talking about, Ryunosuke?
As well as being a judge, Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. Which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country.
Right.
We learned that when we first met you upon your arrival in London.
I don't know why I had to bring that up while he was here. Oh, actually, no, it was actually Mikitoba that said it, right? Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say, I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? I knew you were jealous. Oh boy. Wow, I never thought that'd actually play into some shit. Wow, god damn, man.
I presume you recall this, Judge Jigoku. This seemingly innocuous picture.
But I decided that now I had to go into my court record. I just knew somehow.
It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. Look how fucking happy we are. As the court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside.
Mr. Naruhodo, surely you're not suggesting...
I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrivals from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Gregson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk.
God damn, man. Order in the court! I'm skeptical, counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk.
It could. Because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside his trunk.
Yep.
And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jigoku?
But inside his trunk. How horrifying.
And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street. taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body.
I don't have to listen to this nonsense.
Dr. Gory, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She's acknowledged there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator.
Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the requisite size are few and far between.
Yes, I'm sure they are. But one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep food fresh on their long sea voyages. And the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikotoba told me about it only yesterday. Well, Judge Jigoku, however much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer.
Well, this is all very heartening. I can see that it was a wise move, letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour. What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. And I can see that you both laid firm foundations for that already.
Judge Jigoku, please stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond?
Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there?
Why ever not?
Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact. Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical.
The actual scene of the crime.
The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street and the gunshot was heard. Oh, for God's sakes, Asogi! As the accused, Brock Van Zeek shot the victim at point-blank range. Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling.
The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly. I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim that's the only fairy tale here.
How can you say that?
Quite simply, because that claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession.
Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you had better explain yourself to the court, don't you?
The prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim.
Take that!
Photograph? Yep. A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed.
Yes, but the point is the posture of the body itself.
Yeah. It's the thing, if he died instantly, he wouldn't be like curled up in a ball like that.
If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled in a ball like that.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed. You could easily have adopted that fetal position due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal.
Objection.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jigoku, but it's your logic that's flawed.
What?
According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position.
Darn!
Which begs the question of why the victim's body is curled up in that way. Though the answer should be abundantly clear by now.
You're suggesting?
The inspector's body took on that posture ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street, before it was coldly turned out on the floor. From the inside of a large travel trunk.
No!
You're quite right. The shape of the body. It looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space.
Yeah. Rigor mortis probably would have kicked in maybe a bit too.
Judge Jigoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood.
Ah! Present my trunk. I refuse. What?
On what grounds?
I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs in the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some strapling's baseless accusations.
In other words, Judge Shigoku, there is blood in your trunk.
I decline to answer that. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges that...
At this moment, you're not a government minister. You are a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are or what your status outside this courtroom might be. You will not withhold information. Nothing is more important than the truth.
Order! Order in the court! Well, Mr. Shigoku, what's it to be? You can't be serious. You did it? Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Sogi? What? Very well, I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense.
What?
You! Dear God, outrageous!
So it was you! You admit...
No, I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection. What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean? I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So, I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else.
You can't still deny it! If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man?
As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life.
Oh,
That's right. Who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Sogi! You. Man, dude, this judge is vindictive as fuck. I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seshiro Shigoku. You've taken the words straight out of my mouth. Prosecutor Kazuma Sogi. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could pin the crime on me, did you?
Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question.
Yes, on an assassination mission, no less. You wouldn't! So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more!
I don't believe this.
Counsel for the defense, what is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion.
The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Sogi. This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer's right in front of me. It comes down to Jigoku, or Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well. The defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. The idea the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Sogi is
Impossible! Possible!
Oh my God, who could it be? It's impossible, motherfucker. I stand by a Sogi, goddammit!
Judge Jigoku. Let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claim that logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process.
It is, no question.
Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Sogi to commit the crime.
What? All me's going in now. The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So present what you have, counsel. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility of Prosecutor Sogi's involvement? It's because of the evacuation drill, right?
Take that!
Yup. This itinerary for crew members of the SS Grouse, my lord. This is conclusive proof.
An itinerary? How does that prove anything?
Judge Shigoku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant.
What? Why?
On the night in question, as always, a crewman's sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin.
Absolutely, because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate.
So that tells us the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock, as indicated on the itinerary.
Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far.
But the crucial point is this. When the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk. Now, clearly the murder could only have been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time. But Prosecutor Sogi stated in yesterday's proceedings, yep,
I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning.
he wasn't on that fucking ship anymore, bro. Which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof that Kazuma Sogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing. Ah!
Hold it! No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all.
What do you mean?
The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere on the nearby ship. Just waiting for his chest to come back and...
No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma?
As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book. All extremely easy to verify and undeniable proof. No.
There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer as a common man. You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. That's what really happened, isn't it, Shesiro Shigoku?
It was that damn trial 10 years ago. That's when all this began. Oh God. Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already. It's over! My life! It's over!
So yeah, I told you that stand was gonna get broken. A British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Is Ryunosuke talking, or? Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands.
The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request, it was a demand.
And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Sogi. But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain, and you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement because I was already on my way to Britain at that time in Cosmo's place.
And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that.
The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume.
That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain, It was interesting how his remark there was just like Dally Vigil's remark, right? My life is over. Wow. So I enlisted the help of my British counterpart and made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper. Wow.
What? The Reaper?
But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself.
Ah!
So, that means that the assassin exchange was all planned by the Reaper.
I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France and his own death.
Oh, how awful.
It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness.
I feel like that would have been in the autopsy then, right? That he was actually choked out?
But there was a guard's house at the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time, waiting.
For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock.
Wow. I'd intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came around and went for me in a reckless move.
Damn, dude. Fucking Gregson, man.
I received the British issue gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that. So the revolver belongs to you, does it?
Then the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS Grouse, which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street.
The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could take the body up on deck to throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for the evacuation drill. So before the first-class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room.
And then on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police.
I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London. In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule. Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon, in order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Boone, from whom he would take back his police identification. I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as the culprit, so I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk.
That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel then.
Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling little firecrackers.
Miss Venus, of course.
I conceived of the candle trick there and then. So I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate a gunshot. What sort of disguise? For some reason, the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case. Ah. So I put that on, although I suspect I drew more attention to myself in that than I would have otherwise.
The hairpiece we found at the scene. The inspector had it ready for the red-headed elite investigation.
Only arrived at the room at around 4:45. So I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board, and set up my little candle trick. I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later, so that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap. Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder.
What was that?
I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips.
You know, it's interesting, though. There's still something that has not been clarified yet, right? We still do not know why Asogi's blade was broken into Gregson's trunk. We don't know why that is yet.
I didn't notice it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to the refrigeration room. I put it back into his pocket the following morning, but... well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish. Wow. Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did. Oh my god, dude, this shit is crazy. You owe us a new stand, by the way. Fuck you, Stronghart. I've heard enough. We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such a vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty.
An exchange of assassins. What a foolhardy idea.
Mr. Shigoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? Nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us!
Enough! I've already told you. That I cannot say. Even though as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again. What are you waiting for? Can't we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it. I'm finished. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us is admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson. Ah, boosh! Holy crap, all the juries are under him. Sesshoreau Jigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found guilty. Let the blood rain down. May I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court. Hey, I ain't saying shit, man. You guys freak me the fuck out. Holy fuck. Nothing like the sweet taste of justice. Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
Oh, wonderful. Well done, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, thank you.
Is something wrong?
I'm just a little troubled by his silence.
The true identity of the Reaper of the Barely and this extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries, however. Insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion.
I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries as a prosecutor.
As you wish. Now, for the formal adjudication. I hereby declare the defendant, Barak Van Zieks.
Objection!
Objection! Oh God. Soki, what have you demon done? The prosecution calls for an adjudication to be deferred. Counsel. The accused's innocence hasn't been fully established at all. And therefore, it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is the prosecution's unwavering position.
What?
But Judge Jigoku has already confessed.
Nevertheless, Barak Van Zieks has committed crimes for which he must be punished. Well, it would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly, the murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Sesshoreau Jigoku. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot. Into this sick, merciless assassin exchange.
That may be true, but
So what I want to know is, who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? The victim went to France, having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order. As we've already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Barak Van Zieks, of being the Reaper of the Barely. And furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. Order, order, order! The Reaper of the Barely is a long-standing mystery council. Are you suggesting you have some new information with which to build a case?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Van Zieks very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper.
Perhaps, but circumstances have now changed.
What do you mean?
It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jigoku by the Reaper himself, which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here.
I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name.
You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Zieks. And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes.
That explains Cosmo's silence before. He'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Van Zieks unwittingly started 10 years ago.
Very well, whilst it's extremely irregular, I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he has had with the Reaper in the assassin exchange. I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing. Uno mas, baby. Wait, it ain't over yet.
Oh yeah? Well, I've got to say this to you.
Talk to my motherfucking leg, you piece of shit! I'm out of here! And he just fucking walks out, smashes his glass against this fucking side pillar, gives him the middle finger, hops in his Ferrari, and drives off.
Pray turn a blind eye to the discourtesy as I verify this vile and unremitting accusation. Hasn't soured the contents of my hallowed chalice. Lord Van Zieks! I first had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now. And ever since that time, I've endured the weight of implied guilt that's gone with it. So I welcome the chance to testify now and crush those allegations once and for all.
Good. Then let justice decide, Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Barely. And what says the defense?
Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous, and Cosmo-sama is so emotional at the moment, he's not thinking logically.
You're right that he's not himself, but I knew it would be like this. And I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise, as a lawyer and as his friend.
Then that's what we must do.
The defense has no objection, my lord.
Very well. Defendant, you will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the assassin exchange.
As you wish, my lord.
We just hopping into it? Oh, fuck, we are. God damn it. Can I step in here? I feel like this has got to be a good place to stop, right? Right. I can't, and we're going into another testimony. They're not going to throw it to be continued until I fucking break his testimony or press it or whatever. So this has got to be a good place to stop. God damn, dude. This game's incredible. This game's fucking incredible. This game's the best. Oh my God, I love it so much. Oh my God. Wow. Fuck, man. She gives you goosebumps. It's so fucking good. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys are enjoying this shit as much as I am. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, please do a like and a favorite. It really does help me out. And subscribe if you're not already. Become a picky penguin aboard the SLP, where the days are always sunny and the vids are always funny. I don't know if the next one's going to be the last one or what. But we're definitely going to get into the meat of it now. But anyway, as always, picky penguins. Till next time, guys. Stay classy.